Welcome to the Coaching Corner, sponsored by Premier Lending. I'm your host, Devin Dubuc.
And I'm Coach Rick.
Hey, and we're here to talk about how you can have great success in the mortgage business. And Coach, it's 2025. What should we talk about today?
Well, actually, the topic we're going to talk about probably should have been talked about a month ago by most people. But if you haven't started doing your business planning for this year, hey, this is a great week to get it done. You're only a couple days into the year, and there's still time to put a plan in effect and execute it properly.
So let's talk about that, Coach, because I've never done a business plan before. What does that look like? What's a business plan? That sounds difficult. Sounds like it would take a lot of time.
Actually, it's pretty easy. I mean, you literally can get out a piece of paper and scratch this thing out with some good thought in 10, 15 minutes. You want to build a business for yourself that's, you have to think bold about what you want to do. You have to make yourself stand out within the industry. You want to build a legacy, for your business to stay established, and you want to build something that lasts. And you do that by adding value to your business partners.
So let's talk about that a little bit. So where do I get started, right? So it's 2025. I'm a month late, and I don't really have a roadmap for success yet. And I think what you're saying is this business plan is a roadmap for success, right? It's the way that we can really control our output in 2025.
It definitely is. The first thing I'm going to tell people is, they get that piece of paper out and kind of make two columns. On the left-hand column, you want to make space to put down your 5 top business goals. So if that's a monetary goal, if it's a value, for how many loans, dollar volume you're going to do, put that kind of stuff down. If it's how many agents you want to meet, how many families you want to help, put that stuff on the left side. The second thing on that left side is your top 5 personal goals, because your business life has to integrate with your professional life and your personal life. And you want to put down your top 5 personal goals. So, unfortunately for me, my number one goal every year is to lose 25 pounds. I've been losing that same 25 pounds or 1 and 2 for years.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people understand that. But, if it's a savings goal, if it's a vacation for the family, almost like building that dream board, what are those 5 personal goals that you want to, accomplish? And then the next thing you put down is, what are the top 3 things you want to accomplish for this quarter?
Okay.
So, we've got 12 weeks left after this week. What do you want to accomplish during this quarter? Because honestly, what you accomplish during this quarter is going to affect the next 2 quarters.
Yeah. Well, let's take that back a little bit, because I think what you're talking about is breaking it down into bite-sized chunks. So instead of trying to tackle the whole goal all at once, we're going to break that down into little bite-sized chunks that we can obtain within a quarter so that we can start to build momentum and build progress, right? Because the one thing that I think, you and I both know, Coach, is that what really builds success is consistency, right? Doing things over and over again to get the results that you're looking for. And you brought up another thing that I think is really important. And you talked about, those goals that we set for ourselves personally sometimes that never really get off the shelf, right? Hey, this year I want to do this, but we don't get it accomplished. And what I found, Coach, for me, is when you take those goals and you put something bigger than ourselves behind it, right? And you mentioned family, so I'm going to go there. So, let's talk about that. So let's say that my goal, and let's take this back from personal to business this year, is that I want to close 2 more loans per month, right? So now we've got to backscale that and look at what kind of activity that it's going to take to get those additional 2 loans, right?
Correct.
And I know that's what you're going to go over next, but I think we take it even a step further than that and we go, well, here's the deal. I may not personally get those goals met for myself, right? Because at the end of the day, I'll let myself down faster than I'll let down somebody else. But if we take those goals and we talk about how we're going to impact our family, right? So, maybe let's a vacation. If I close 2 more loans per year, per month, that's 24 more loans per year. That's going to equal, this much money in income. That's what is that? $3,000 typically per loan. That's an extra $72,000 a year. I can now take these extra vacations with my family. And now you project that goal and you say, well, this is for my kids, right? This
Hmm.
is so they get that time with dad or that time with mom to where they can actually spend with me. And guess what? If I put that goal on my family, man, I'm probably not going to let them down, right? I'm going to let myself down, but I'm not going to let them down because I know if I work to do the things that it takes in this plan that you're putting together, I'm going to make sure that I don't miss those goals because, man, I want to take my kids to the beach, and I want to be able to have those 3 to 4 good trips a year that extra $72,000 is going to produce. So
Yeah.
I know we took that a little different direction, so let's go back on task. But now, so we're setting it down. We're saying, hey, these are the quarterly rocks. These are the things that we want to set up for the first part of the quarter. So let's elaborate from there. Let's take that a little step further.
Yeah, so when you're starting this, and one of the things we'll go deeper on another call, it's a whole separate call to actually build out who you're going to call on, how many people you need, what does it take to go from 2 to 4, from 4 to 8, and we'll go more in depth. But to get started right now, what we want to talk about is you have to time block your schedule. So the first thing you need to go in is you need to time block your workout schedule, your meditation schedule, your prayer schedule, your
Mm,
personal time. If you have to pick your mom up like I do every once in a while, once a month on a Thursday at 1 o'clock at the infusion center, it's in my schedule. And that
yeah.
time that I'm putting in there for those things becomes non negotiable. You have to determine what's non negotiable in your schedule. If you're able to do that, then what you first want to time block then is the times that you're going to be calling your database, the times you're going to be calling the realtors you want to call on, the times you're going to be calling anybody that you're trying to grow your business with. And, for a lot of people, that's 9 to 11, it's 10 to 12 in the morning, no matter what time zone you're in.
Yeah.
And we can talk in depth again in the future about those, but you want to put that into your schedule. And then you want to put into your schedule times that you want to meet with people, times that you're going to meet with your processor, times that you're going to have learning, like if there's learning like we do here when we do training every Tuesday, we do a coach's corner. And you need to build these things into your schedule and make them non-negotiable so that at least half of your day, business hours wise, is non-negotiable, that you're going to do those things every day. It's the only way to be, to just really be successful.
Yeah.
So you need to build in your weekly goals that are non-negotiable or time schedule, and you need to build in any monthly ones. I have that one in my schedule for my mom once a month on Thursdays. I got to pick her up this Thursday.
So
you
let's break
know,
that back a little bit. So effectively, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to branch out our goals. And guys, if you're listening and you're wondering, well, that's great. I don't really have a visual for that. I'm a visual person. We're going to give you a link where you can get access to this one-page business plan when we wrap up. So make sure you stay tuned until the end, and we'll give you information on how you can get that one-page business plan to really map out your goals for the year. Then we're going to break down those goals into bite-sized chunks that we can accomplish by the quarter. And then we're going to designate, well, how are we going to accomplish those goals, right? What's going to move the needle to make that happen? And then to make those goals come true or come to life, we're going to time block time on the calendar so that we can actually have a scheduled day that gives us the time to make these things happen. Let me tell you something, guys. If you're listening to this and you're saying, not me, my schedule's chaotic, there's no way I can make that happen. Have you seen the mortgage industry? Guys and gals, Coach and I have been in this industry. I'm a little over 2 decades. Coach, I don't know if you want to divulge that. Uh,
into my fourth.
yeah, almost fourth decade in the industry. And let me tell you something. We both came from the camps of there was no way to work by a calendar in this industry. And I can tell you right now that if you really follow this process and you tune in, we're going to keep giving you these secrets and show you how to do that. You truly can dial in a calendar that can function and use it as an opportunity to build the success that you want to build in your business, right? And it starts with the business plan, right? Because you have to have a roadmap for success. If you don't know where you're trying to go, you're never going to get there, right? It's kind of like this, right? If somebody told me, hey, I want you to drive to Brazil, right? Let's talk about that. I probably could drive to Brazil, right? We're here in the United States. We can run down through Central America. We maybe get to Brazil. But the question is how long is it going to take you to get to Brazil if you just hop in the car and head south, right? Uh, that's probably not a great plan for success, right?
Yeah.
You may get there, you may not, right? But at the end of the day, if we map that out into bite-sized chunks and we know how far we're going to travel each day and where we're going to pit stop and we're going to have the credentials that are necessary to get across the appropriate borders so that we can then land at the place in Brazil that we want to be. We might be able to make that trip. That's a long trip. It's going to take some time. And that's why we want to bite it down into those little bite-sized chunks, right, Coach?
Oh yeah, and the things that you do every day while you're building that are what's going to build up to it. I mean, it can take longer than, just 2 weeks worth of work to make things happen. It's just like what is Quitter's Day here in the United States? Isn't that like February or January the 21st? That's
Right.
Quitter's Day. That's when the people that join the gym, that's when, people that made all their vows, that's when they quit.
Yeah.
And, in this business, it's got to be a consistent effort week after week after week. And if you can't build 2 hours of non negotiable time into your schedule to do nothing but work on generating future business, then when are you going to do it? You're going to let your schedule run you. And the way you start with that is you put it in your calendar, you mark it as busy so that nobody can schedule time with you through a Calendly or anything like that. And you notify everybody that you're involved with, whether it's your
Yeah.
processors, your owners of your company, your realtors, that from this time to this time, every morning you are working on their business
Non-negotiable.
on behalf of them. And they have to understand that because there is nothing that can happen during that 2 hours that you can't have somebody else handle or get back to. Anybody that expects you to pick up the phone the second it rings is almost being unreasonable, and you might be the one setting up that expectation
That's
that
right.
that makes it unreasonable. Have you ever called your attorney and got him on the first ring? Or your
Yeah.
dentist, your doctor? I scheduled my annual physical with my doctor 4 months ago, and it's coming up in a couple weeks.
Well,
So
let's talk about that, Coach, because I think you could even go so far as to tell your business partners, your real estate agents, and even your clients, hey, by the way, from 9 to 11 every day, that's sacred time for me. So if I don't pick up during that period of time, just know that I'll reach out to you afterwards to respond, right? Because I'm going to do what it takes to make sure that I'm updating my borrowers and my agents and giving them insight on what's going on with their business. So know that I'll always reach out to you. But if for some reason I don't answer between 9 and 11, that's why. And I will always return your call directly after. So, if you inform your partners, let me tell you something, what I found, and Coach, I know you've interviewed a lot of people. I've interviewed a lot of agents from East Coast to West Coast. And what I found is agents that know that you have a process for success. And that you have follow-up techniques and schedules that you utilize to stay in touch with them, all it does is makes you seem set on a level as a peer, right? Because what I found with these top tier agents is they have successful processes just like that. And when they hear that you're following a success plan and that you're consistently doing the work every single week and you've got a non-negotiable that this is what I do during that period of time, they're not going to get mad at you for that, right? They know from 9 to 11, Devin's not going to be available. But guess what? He certainly is going to pick up that phone at 11 o'clock and respond to texts and emails
yeah.
because this is the way that he does business, right? How about you, Coach? What have you found?
Well, it really fits our motto of the company here, care, C-A-R-E. If they understand that the clients are first, and the real estate agents are also clients, not just the
They
borrowers,
are.
and if they understand that your team is aligned and accountable, that's the A. They know that if during a 9 to 11, they can call your processor, give them that second person they can talk to,
That's right.
and let them and hold your teammates to be accountable. The R, let them know that you're resilient and resourceful. So at the end of 11 o'clock, if you've got 5 people to call back, you're going to, take care of calling all those people back. And if for some reason there's somebody else that needs to get involved, you're resourceful enough to bring that person in to let them help. And
Yeah.
then let them know that the last thing is the E, that you're doing this to be, give excellence as your service. In fact, there's a book that I have just started reading, so I can't really talk about it a whole lot, but you might have even told me about it. It's called Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yes, sir.
And this book is kind of eye-opening. And what you can let them know is you expect to give them service that maybe is unreasonable to most people.
That's it.
But time blocking that 2 hours to grow your business has to be a part of it, and they have to allow you to do it.
Yeah. Well, I know we went a little off the reservation because the whole plan was the one-page business plan, and we're going to give that to you. So, and if you want instructions on that or how to use it, or you just want some time to talk about how can I do that, reach out to Coach or myself. That's what we're here for. We want to help empower people in this industry to create successes for themselves. And if you're going, hey, what is he talking about having somebody answer when I can't? Let me tell you something. It's really important to have partners inside of your business that understand that non-negotiable time. Because at the end of the day, they can be those resources for you. And think about it from this perspective. Your processors, your loan assistants, whether you have one now or you don't have one, we can talk about how you can get those. But at the end of the day, they're going to want you to make those outreach calls because what they know is that when you're out there creating opportunities, that's going to bring more business to the organization. And the more business that the organization has, the more successful everybody is on that team. And if you're looking at yourself and saying, not me, this isn't going to work, our team isn't going to do that, well, that's when you got to set that line in the sand and say, I choose, right? I choose to work at an organization that prohibits me from making these successful actions, right? And that is a choice, right? We all have a choice to align ourselves with the businesses that are going to allow us to have the flexibility to do what it takes to create success inside of our business.
Well, that's the cool thing about Premier Lending. After coaching for as many years as I did, Faris Faraj, the owner of Premier Lending, was one of those people that embraced what we were teaching, and he's embraced coaching for the last 10, 15 years. He's always been coached, and he's incorporated the things that we teach at different coaching companies into the business here. And so anybody that comes here, they can do their own plan. If they're being successful on their own, we're not going to
That's
change
right.
somebody. But if somebody wants to go from 2 to 4 and that 4 to 8, or a team from 10 to 20 a month or 20 to 40 a month, our model can do that no matter what size you are. And so our team believes in this stuff and they understand it. And you're not going to have to fight with anybody on our team about, implementing these type of things. And the only thing that we're going to do is do everything we can to support you to become successful and reach your goals. And we'll talk about that the next time. How to prioritize setting your goals by knowing what your why is. And
Mm,
that's really important. You mentioned that earlier. I think
yeah,
we have to bring that up on the next show.
I
How do
like
you
it.
find your why? And how do you let other people, including your business partners, know about your why and why that's
Yeah.
important?
Yeah, finding your why, right? That's such an important, part of this because when you know what your why is, those non-negotiables, they're exactly that. You're going to do what it takes because once you have a why and you can stand behind it, you know that you're not going to let the people that stand behind that why down, right? So I love that you mentioned that, and I think that's going to be a great topic on the next one. But this is the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Premier Lending. We're going to keep these things coming back every week, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Look for this content. And if you want to book an appointment with Coach or myself, we're going to have a link down at the bottom of the, it probably just ran across the screen right there. Yeah. Just click on that. And, that's going to give you access to our calendar. You can jump right on, booking a meeting with myself or Coach. And, we're here to empower folks in this industry on how to create great successes for themselves. So until the next one, I'm Devin Dubuc.
And I'm Coach Rick.
Take care. We'll see you soon.